Hi, my name is Nicole Chen, and I am a Taiwanese-American author, and I write books for kids that feature Taiwanese or Asian American kids like myself. And one of my books is How We Say I Love You. I'm also a parent to a 9-year-old girl, and like most kids, she loves to play with her iPad, but she also loves to read. And with my help, she reads a lot of diverse books. And so what I'd like to do with you all today is to share some tips as an author and as a parent on how to incorporate diverse stories into the books that your kids read. So why is it important for kids to read diverse and multicultural books today? Well, I don't think you can deny that the world is increasingly complex and is increasingly a mix of different cultures. So our kids might experience new people in their day-to-day, or new that act in different ways, that act in ways they're not familiar with. So we want our kids to be able to be accepting and open to new ways of being. We also want our kids to be open for new experiences, for chances to travel, to go abroad, whether it's to explore a new activity or to travel with family. So we really have a responsibility as parents to show them how big the world is and to develop global citizens that are empathic and understand different ways of living. So picture books are fantastic ways to show how different people live to the youngest of our children. There are great ways to start them on their journey of developing empathy and curiosity at a really young age. So some things that make picture books so special. First is the illustrations. Your kids can see the diverse ways of being through the pictures on the page. They can see characters of different races, different body shapes, different physical abilities. They can see the characters inside an environment that looks a little bit different, as well as the artifacts that the characters are interacting with. In How We Say I Love You, for example, you'll see an environment where the children is having a hot breakfast. In the living room, there's Chinese artifacts. Her bedroom is a little more culturally neutral. And even dinner, you can see what dinner looks like in an Asian American family. So language is another tool that makes picture books a great tool to celebrate diverse stories. So How We Say I Love You is written in English, but I've chosen to use ama and akong instead of grandma and grandpa, because I want to represent a Taiwanese perspective. There's also some Pinyin and some Chinese words throughout, but those words are contextualized so that kids who don't know Chinese, they can guess what's happening through the pictures and through the words that are around them. That is actually how kids learn new vocabulary, right? If they see a word they don't know, they can guess at what it means. And then for kids who do know Chinese, they get really excited about seeing themselves on the page, about seeing Chinese that they know, and then kind of being in on a secret and knowing something other kids might not. Kids can also see customs in picture books and attitudes and the interaction between different characters. So in How We Say I Love You, for example, it features an intergenerational family. This is also a family that doesn't say the words I love you, but they show the love they feel for each other in different ways. There's also very specific rituals, such as allowing the elders to pick the best food first, or drinking tea before bed. And then at the end of the day, picture books really anchor on shared experiences and shared feelings, on themes that bind kids together. So despite differences, they feel very similar things. So for example, in How We Say I Love You, it features the love in a family, which hopefully any kid can really experience. The main character, Hana, loves to draw. She goes to school, she plays soccer. When she misses a goal, she feels disappointed, and she's comforted by her loved ones. And then her grandparents, for example, give her the best things to the grandkids. So despite differences in different things that the kids might see in the pages of a picture book, the themes really ultimately bind them and they can see how their experiences are shared. And now I'd like to offer you some questions that you can talk to with your kids as you discuss diverse stories together. So 1, what was the story about? What parts of the story do you see in your own life? I really like this question because it emphasizes the similarities and not just the differences. What have you seen that surprised you or is different from what you expected? How do the characters feel? Have you felt that way before? Do you know someone like this character? How are they similar? How are they different? And finally, is this someone who you'd like to become friends with? Okay, so let's keep making this real. Let's talk about how to pick the right books for your children. So first, really lean into your kids' interests, but push them too by offering them new suggestions. Because ultimately, it's our job as parents to really guide them on this journey to seeing new experiences. So for example, my kid loves graphic novels. So I make sure to add books to her pile that feature diverse characters. So for example, I suggested Swim Team to Her, which is a book that features a Black community and a Black girl. My daughter loves to swim too, and she's learned something about the history behind discrimination in the 1960s in the US that kept Black people out of swimming pools. But at the same time, she's really relating with a girl in the story who's learning how to swim. And she's doing it by reading a book format that she really, really enjoys. Another tip is to not be afraid to point out stereotypes in the books and discuss them. So when my child was little, we'd read a lot of Richard Scarry books. And I'd always point out how the dad was always the one who went to work, and that it's not that way in our family because both me and my husband work. We also point out things like it's not always the mom who does the cooking because it's just not that way anymore. So they're fun books, but I also don't hesitate to show when something might not necessarily be the way it is now. And then finally, the last tip that I will offer you as a parent is to do some research yourself to find those books. There are a lot of resources online to help you pick diverse books for your child to read. In the US, We Need Diverse Books is a fantastic resource, and I personally use Instagram a lot to follow accounts that feature diverse picture book selections. So thank you so much for listening to my perspective. I hope you give How We Say I Love You a chance, and good luck in your journey to celebrate diversity and multiculturalism with your kids.